You know, when you think of Roger Federer, what comes to mind? Probably that perfect one-handed backhand, or him lifting another Wimbledon trophy, right? But what if I told you his greatest achievements didn't even happen on the court? This is the incredible story of how Roger's retirement was just the start of his second act, building a global brand and a legacy that just keeps on growing.
See, for him, retirement back in 2022 wasn't the end of the road. Not at all. It was a pivot. It was a really carefully planned shift into a whole new phase of his life. And honestly, it's proving to be just as impactful, maybe even more so, than his legendary tennis career.
And if you're kind of skeptical, check this out. About $500 million. That's the estimated value of his piece of just one single company. So how on earth does a tennis maestro become a business mogul on that scale? Okay, so to really get the businessman, you first have to understand the brand he built. And that brand? It was forged on the tennis court through years and years of just untouchable athletic greatness.
I mean, his rise to the top was just insane. From a promising junior champ to the king of Wimbledon, he completely redefined an entire era of tennis. By 2009, he wasn't just breaking records, he was absolutely shattering them, leaving giants like Pete Sampras in the dust.
Just let these numbers sink in for a second. 237 consecutive weeks at number one. Do you know how long that is? That's more than 4.5 years where he was just completely dominant. These aren't just stats on a page. They basically define a whole generation of tennis.
You know, part of what makes a legend is their rivals, right? And for Federer, his perfect foil was, of course, Rafael Nadal. It was this incredible clash of styles, the cool, graceful artist versus the relentless physical warrior. Those matches they had, like that Wimbledon final in 2008, man, they weren't just tennis matches, they were art.
And it's just so perfect, isn't it? That his career ended right there, next to Rafa. That final match, with the two of them, these huge rivals, just sitting there, holding hands, crying together. Wow. That went way beyond sports. It became this powerful symbol of respect, rivalry, and deep friendship.
But here's the thing. Federer's genius wasn't just about hitting a tennis ball. His next move, his second act, was maybe his boldest yet. He was going to transform from a guy who just endorsed products to an entrepreneur who built entire empires. And this right here is where the story gets absolutely wild. Think about this. His entire career prize money, an incredible $130 million, is actually dwarfed by his stake in just one company, On Running. This one single investment has completely rewritten his financial legacy. So, the big question is, how did he pull this off? Well, it was a super smart three-step move. First, he did the unthinkable. He left Nike, his sponsor forever. Then he signs this huge $300 million deal with Uniqlo. But, and this is key, it was for apparel only. That freed him up for shoes. And that led to the checkmate move, investing in this Swiss startup On Running. But not as a celebrity face, no. He came in as a real partner.
And has it paid off? Oh yeah, the company is absolutely flying. A recent report showed a 31% jump in revenue. So, as On Running gets bigger and bigger, so does Federer's fortune. It's really cemented his status as one of the smartest athlete investors ever.
But here's what's really important to understand about Federer. For him, the money was never really the point. It was a tool. It was the fuel for the third, and maybe the most meaningful chapter of his life, his deep, deep commitment to philanthropy.
And we're not talking small scale here. By the end of 2024, his foundation had already reached over 3.1 million kids. That's an incredible number. And the focus is on giving them quality early education, mainly in Southern Africa and back home in Switzerland.
And you can tell this isn't just some celebrity charity thing for him. It's a real personal mission. I mean, when Roger Federer talks, people listen. And he's using that incredible influence to get the message out there, trying to build a movement for change that will last for generations.
So what's next? Well, the thing is, the final chapter of Roger Federer's story isn't written yet. Not by a long shot. It's a living, breathing legacy that's still evolving right in front of our eyes.
I mean, he might have hung up his racket professionally, but he's not going anywhere. He's a global ambassador for tennis. From getting into the Hall of Fame to headlining big events and even dropping a new documentary, he's still right at the center of the tennis world.
And then, amidst all the billion-dollar deals and the global foundations, you get these really cool human moments, like his teenage daughters being spotted training at Rafa and Nadal's academy. How amazing is that? It just perfectly captures his whole story: sportsmanship,
family, and a love for the game that's being passed on.
So, that leaves us with this big question, right? When it's all said and done, what will be the one thing we remember Roger Federer for? The almost supernaturally graceful champion? The brilliant entrepreneur who played the business world just as well as he played the court? Or the compassionate philanthropist who impacted millions of lives? You know, maybe the real answer is that his true legacy isn't just one of those things, but the incredible story of a man who managed to master all three.